Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ben from UnitedQ. It's Wednesday, which means we've got another awesome podcast to get you over hump day. I'm here with my co-host, Dan.
What's up?
And we're brought to you, as always, by ProQ, BBQ Gourmet and Smokewood Shack, our awesome sponsors. ProQ is dedicated to providing you with quality smoking products with top-notch service and free advice for beginners to pitmasters. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram under ProQ Smokers. So if you're thinking about buying your first smoker, wanting to upgrade or looking for authentic commercial smokers, check them out over at Macs BBQ. And BBQ Gourmet is devoted to promoting real barbecue and supplying the UK and Europe with top championship-winning barbecue rubs, sauces, marinades and accessories from the United States and around the world. You can find them on Twitter and online under BBQ Gourmet. Regardless of how you cook, whether it's on charcoal, wood, gas or electric, the real taste of summer can be yours all year round. And you may be able to already hear a slight difference today because we're out mobile today and we're doing what we like to do best and go down and visit our good friends down at Macs BBQ. We're down in, I like to call it like Aladdin's cave, to be honest. We're down here and all the awesome goodies around us. So we're going to get to speak about all the products that they've got going on at the moment, and especially the GFCs
And the cabinet smokers that they've got coming out at the minute. Well, they've got coming. They're out already, and there's more in the pipeline. We've just been chatting to them, and there's some more exciting stuff coming out soon. So we're here to find out a bit more about, as you said, the cabinets and the GFCs, and find out what makes them so amazing, and what we can all use them for.
Yeah. We had a good weekend of foodiness and barbecue. We were up at Burnham-on-Sea Food Festival for the weekend, doing some demo chefing and comparing. So we got to meet some awesome chefs and got to show off some of our new food that's coming out in our Christmas cookbook that's out soon.
We did compare who's a better cook, and obviously that was
Today I've got the mic in my hand so I can pull it away from Dan whenever. He's usually in control, so he can always press stop. So who is the better chef on Saturday, Dan?
me.
What did you cook?
I cooked a sea bass dish with a coconut risotto, and it was a lush actually. I called it Thai-Italian. It was a Thai and Italian fusion. Me and my good friend Justin Rees cooked it together.
Did you see? That sounds a lot like a dish that I posted on my Instagram, actually.
Yeah, 'cause you copied us and went home and cooked it. You thought it was so tasty, you went home and cooked it, but
That is true, but I don't think you cooked it. I stirred the rice.
I've got a piece of my thumb missing, which proves I was cutting at least up a couple of shallots and some lemongrass and bits of other pieces.
That's true. That's you took the mantle from me because we laughed and joked about every time I cut any food I cut myself. You took the mick too much and it backfired, didn't it?
I was being cocky and showing off to the crowd and lost a bit of my thumb, but no one noticed. I just carried on doing it, so everyone's got a bit of my thumb was somewhere in that dish, but we won't go too far.
So yeah, like we said, we're down here at Macs BBQ with Ty and Ian. Do you want to say hello, guys?
Hello. Hey guys.
So we've only got one microphone that we're passing around the room at the moment, so hopefully it's all going to go well. But we're sat here in front of a GFC 2150, and Ty's going to give us a little tour of it, I think.
Yeah, sure. So
we'll ask you questions, Ty.
yeah, that'll help. So if you've seen the photos on the right-hand side, you've got the charcoal chute. The bottom door at the bottom of the charcoal chute is where basically all the ash drops down from the fire grate. On the right-hand side is where you access the fire grate and also your airflow control with a ball valve. A lot of people say that looks like some sort of water or pressure gauge or something like that, but no, it's literally just for airflow. Yeah. So the top of the chute opens up. It holds about 14 or 15 kilos of lumpwood, and that will go for about 30 hours without a guru on it. And with a guru, you can get even longer, especially if you're using like a high quality briquette. We've had 50 hours maximum out of this one.
What's the high quality briquette? Are we talking about a Cocoa Show briquette? Is that something that we could? I know you guys don't want to say it, but I'm going to say they rock. So I guess that with the Cocoa Show briquettes in there, it must be a really clean burn and a really good burn, really long burn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hardly see any smoke coming out the top the GFC. That the way they're designed, they really do give a very clean smoke, and you can see that with there's a slight white discharge on the inside of the baffle, and that's because it's burning really cleanly. The baffle.
Why are they called a GFC? So like the name is a GFC, gravity fed cabinet. What is that about?
So the gravity feed is the fact that the charcoal feeds the fire on its own, and the cabinet is just basically because it's an insulated cabinet smoker. We interchange between gravity fed commercial, gravity fed cabinet with, it works for both. It's got about 1.5 inches of insulation around the cooking chamber as well as the charcoal chute, so they run really efficiently.
Is that one wall, or is there multiple walls in there? How does that work? What's in that inch and a half thickness?
It's a really high quality heating insulation. It's got a single wall on the inside, which is I think 4mm plate steel, and then it's got a frame around that, and then a millimeter plate, which is the orange coloured.
Cool. And so as the heat comes through the unit, how does that work with the airflow? Because I know that you guys had some airflow gurus, some geniuses working on that helped design the airflow on these units.
So the factory that we work with actually design space heaters that run on basically any solid fuel or oil, but with absolutely no deposits on the hot air side. So they're designed to filter air. They've got a very intricate air system through them, and these guys basically specialize in that. They helped us to make sure that the cooking chamber has a really even heat distribution from back to front and from top to bottom. The only heat difference is really on the top grates with a GFC. It's a little bit warmer, but otherwise all the other grates are very similar.
Awesome. That must be really hard to achieve on such a big unit. I think that's one of the things everyone really wants to look for with something like this is that even heat across the whole unit, and that seems like something you really achieve with the GFC and the cabinet smokers.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the harder things to do, especially when you sort of put a big brisket in the way. You can sort of think, oh well, I've got a cold spot there now. A lot of the time people shut the door and the brisket will be right next to the temperature gauge, which gives you a little bit of an off reading. That's why we always sort of recommend using like a decent digital probe. But once the brisket warms up, the heat just averages out, and because the plate walls are so thick and they hold a lot of radiant heat, it tends to come up to temp quite quickly.
Yeah, something that you hear people like Aaron Franklin and stuff like that discussing is sort of like the aerodynamics of how things move through. So I guess that having like a brisket or something in there, I hadn't really thought about it, but like you said, it really could make a difference to sort of temperatures throughout the unit. So, but when it gets to the temperature, then I guess, like you said, that it's just another,
it just evens itself out. Yeah,
again.
Absolutely.
Probe-wise, if you're going to use a digital probe, will that go in to the top? What have you got?
So on the right-hand side of the door, you can see a little copper nut that just twists off, and that will hold at least sort of 10 probes if you have to. But yeah, it allows for straight probes to go directly into the cooking chamber without affecting the airflow.
And if you're using like a barbecue guru type device to control the temperature, where would you fit that onto the device?
So with the air intake, it's a 2-inch ball valve, and Barbecue Guru have an attachment specifically for that already in the market. So that's one of the reasons we picked that size ball valve for the air intake. The other was that it does need that much air at times. So it literally just screws into the end of the ball valve. You attach your fan, and the Guru can sit on the shelf on the front with the probes running into the cooker.
What sort of temperatures do these GFCs like to sit? Are they all different, or is it all just down to airflow? You can have them right up at cooking at sort of 350, or you could have them close all the air off and have them cooking at a lot lower temperatures, or is there like a natural point they like to sit at?
So with the 2150, we use the chimney as well as the air intake to control the temperature. we leave the chimney half open and the ball valve half open, and that sits at 225 for days. I mean, it's absolutely stable like that, and we have taken them up to 350, and we've actually got plans for an accessory grilling application. So it's like a charcoal tray with an ash pan underneath, and then you can put grills on top to direct grill. I mean, the inside of the unit is really, really well built and will withstand a really, really high heat.
Cool. And on the bottom shelf there, I've seen in some of them there's like a drip pan or like a water pan. Is that the same in the GFC as it is the cabinets? Yeah,
so the 2150 is a gastronome tray size, like a 1-to-1 gastro, and that's what we use as the water pan or the drip pan. We put a bit of water in there so that you don't get too much fat all at the same time, but the water doesn't do much for the temperature. It'll increase the moisture in the air slightly, which helps the smoke stick to the meat. But yeah, I mean, having 1-to-1 gastros with our reverse flows and the GFC makes it really, really easy to replace them if you need to.
Cool. What's so you mentioned the reverse flow. What are the major differences between the GFC then and the reverse flows?
So the reverse flow would be absolutely perfect for guys who do like weekend catering or competition teams, or guys who just like doing really long cooks. Whereas the GFC is definitely more based around a restaurant that opens every day. Because you can keep it running 24/7, you literally just need to top up the charcoal. It'll give you another 24, 30 hours and empty the ash pan, and you can just keep going like that. Whereas the reverse flows more easy to ditch the charcoal out of the fire basket and then pack it up and go.
I suppose with the GFCs you can just open up the lid and keep topping up as you're going along, so literally you could just run it constantly. So if you're in a restaurant or something and you are smoking meat on such a sort of industrial scale every day and you're open 7 days a week, with the GFC you just keep going.
Yeah, there's no need to shut down really, apart from cleaning maybe. But you can literally, even if there's ash build up on the fire grate, you can reach in, you can give the fire grate a good shake, and that'll ditch the ash out and it'll just keep running.
I suppose even if you burn it all out though, and you burn all of your charcoal out after a full load, it probably hold a lot of its heat in the space of time it would take to clean it out anyway, I guess, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for the cleaning process, you'd have to open the front door, which you would lose some of your temperature, but it would definitely reduce the amount of time it would take to reheat.
Cool. So the cabinets, the reverso cabinets, should we have a little quick tour of one of those?
Yeah, so we've got 2 models available at the moment. There's a stretch and the tubby, and they're essentially the same build-wise, except for the stretch is a bit taller. The firebox is at the bottom. It's got a really heavy-duty fire basket, and then underneath that's the ash pan.
I've seen that they're really cool. They're like built-in sort of snake already. Like people set up like the snake method in their barbecues, probably something you've come across, but they've got like a built-in sort of like maze, similar to like the CSG, the cold smoke generators you guys do. You've got like a little maze unit in the bottom to like control the burn. Yeah,
it's just to stop your fire going over and to allow you a bit more control. You can control them really, really easily with the air intake, but having not too much coal burning also helps it not overrun.
And also, I suppose, extends the time that you get to cook out of them, because if all your charcoal went up and you're burning, like, say, minion method, then you have no control over the sort of time other than your airflow. But I suppose with that snake method, you get like a much better control over how long that will burn for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And before we move on, we said about you've got the 2 different types. There's also 3 types of GFC at the minute as well, aren't there?
Yeah, so we've got the 2150, which is a 1-to-1 gastro. Standard size, the 3000, which is it's about 1.5 times the size cooking chamber, and then the 4200, and there's possibility of a larger one coming at some point in the future.
Cool. So what? Yeah, you mentioned a possibility of a larger one. What sort of size are we talking here?
That one's 7200, as in like 7200 centimeters.
Now that's a shed load of brisket.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone was ringing. Very unprofessional of me as usual. But yeah, that's a shed load of brisket. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I mean, the 3000 already is like an absolute beast. So I imagine this is going to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, we've got one in production for us at the moment. After the prototypes have been done, so the design's all finished. We just want to get it over here, take some pictures, and then we'll give you guys a look.
Awesome. You guys just over visiting the factory recently?
Yeah, we got back from Hungary on Saturday night, about 11 p.m. Yeah.
Cool. How was that trip?
Oh, it was amazing. The factory is so great to see. I mean, the guys are all really enthusiastic about the products they're building, and they really work hard.
Cool. I saw that you were checking out some local restaurants. Any cool food stories to tell? Any cool restaurants to talk about?
I'll give this one to Ian.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going for just over a year now, and it's quite surprising and good to see that the barbecue sort of community is growing there as well as it is here, with lots of new restaurants. Most of them are cooking on real, what we call real barbecues, so charcoal or wood, and those are the ones that seem to be most successful there. There's a couple that we've been to that are quite sort of in the boondocks, as I would call it, but really good people and passionate about what they're doing. They want to do things right, and quite nicely is that they don't want to just do the standard American barbecue. They're doing that but putting in a Hungarian twist on. So expect flavors with a lot of Hungarian paprika and that sort of thing.
Awesome, that's really cool to see, because I mean, you see like I'm going to say Australia, for instance, are really putting their own spin on things, and it's great that other countries in Europe, I mean, barbecue's smashing it in Europe at the minute, but other countries, as well as your sort of French teams, Spanish teams, Italian teams, German teams, stuff is actually spreading further into Europe, and countries like Hungary are really taking it on and getting involved.
Yeah, it's really good to see and to be a part of that. I mean, we've been going now for 10 years, and it was quite lonely when we first started because nobody did smoke food as such, and it's just so nice and that you're with like-minded people now, and it's such a good community. There's very rarely you come across a bad person in barbecue, and that's, I guess, what we love about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the cool thing about our job, is that we get to sit around and chat to all these people all over the world who we've never even met before, but you pick up a phone and then just get on with them, and it's like you've known each other for the common denominator. Barbecue comes up, and that's it. You just chat for hours about. I suppose you guys probably get bored of listening to us, but non-stop talking about hours about barbecue. But yeah, it seems like a common denominator across the world that you could be, I don't know, you could be sat waiting for a train somewhere and barbecue comes up. It seems to be unique, I think, barbecue. I don't claim to know why or what, but any other sort of style of food, I don't think you can do that. But with barbecue, you're sat waiting for a train and meet someone, come across someone that's into barbecue, and there you go, you can talk for hours non-stop and immediately got this sort of common denominator with them and just chat for hours, which is awesome.
We said it the other day, we were talking about it, and we were saying how the barbecue world seems to be like that, like you've just said. It's like you don't have these other communities in food that focus specifically on certain areas, but yet barbecue has so many forums, so many meetups and groups and stuff. There isn't the same thing for like every food category that's going.
Yeah, you don't invite your friends around to your house to have a microwave. Or
well, you do.
Well, maybe we do, but
we just stop making up stuff about microwaves now.
Only when we're on TV. We only do that when we're on TV, but normally we invite people around to our house for a barbecue. Sometimes that barbecue be a Morphy Richards barbecue, but we don't talk about that anymore.
No, that's not in our new book.
No, definitely not.
Our new microwave chef. We've got new names. We're not the barbecue buddies now. We're microwave mates.
Yeah, we're going to re-enter next year as the microwave mates. What do you think, guys?
Let us know.
Honestly, I was watching you guys. Obviously, you're over there to work, but you got to have a bit of fun as well. And I was seeing you going around all the barbecue places and restaurants and trying out the food. I'm going to have to come to Hungary with you sometime and
making me hungry.
Full tour.
Yeah, and the shelving wise, I don't think we mentioned like the size difference inside. I know you said like the capacity, but like this one's, I can see, he's got 10 shelves inside the GFC 2150. Do we get more shelves as we go up in the bigger sizes, or?
The 3000 and the 4200 have got a couple more racks, but they all come with a standard of 5 racks in the GFCs, and in the reverse flows you get 6 racks for the stretch and the tubby.
And can people buy more from you? Do you supply more? So like you've got the stackers, I suppose, in the original ProQs, you could add more shelves from you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. We're more than happy to provide more shelves. Obviously, for guys who like doing stuff like wings and ribs and that sort of thing, you need that extra space, but you don't need the height between the shelves. We worked out that 5 was pretty good for having enough space between the racks for whole chickens, briskets, pork butts, and it gives you a bit of room to play with as well.
Imagine 10 trays in there full of wings. You're in like it's like 10,000 wings or something. Let's do that one time.
Yeah, we should give it a go.
How many wings can we fit? Well, when you get the new 7200 was it?
Yeah, 7200.
When we get that one, we can have like a cook-off and see how many wings we can fit in each one.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll put the wing company's stocks will be going right up, I think. But
yeah, we'll hit up grill stock next year, fill it with wings, and see how many people can eat.
Yeah. I think we'd feed the whole festival. I think everyone would be loving it.
Yeah, the
Buckets
food
of
traders
wings
will be a
for
bit
everyone.
annoyed with us.
Yeah.
So when you're setting this up to light, what's the kind of process that you go through? You're just making a small fire at the bottom here?
So there's a couple of ways you can do it. Through the right-hand bottom door on the charcoal chute, you can reach under there and put like a weed burner, gas weed burner, or a Luftlighter under there. Otherwise, you can just open the lid, light a charcoal start like you normally would, dump the lit coals right to the bottom, and then just top it up with charcoal.
And you said like basically you just got to keep topping it up and topping it up. Have you seen anyone like put a big hopper on the top and like really stack up the charcoal high?
No, nothing like that yet. I mean, the top needs quite a good seal. So if it doesn't have that seal, that whole chute could potentially become an entire fire. So yeah.
I guess it's something to talk about there is the fact it is a sealed unit, so you really do have that airflow running through from just the exhaust and the intake.
Yeah, I mean there's a very, very small air intake compared to the size of the fire, and it keeps it running. Any sort of extra air will obviously make a difference with that, and because it's so well insulated and that sort of thing, it runs on much smaller tolerances than like a water smoker would. Which also means you can control the temperature better.
Cool. I saw this thing the other day. It was like an American cabinet smoker, and it had like a. Do you know like you get those upside down water units that like you in offices that you like put a little cup underneath? It had like one of those on the side, and it was like a gravity fed like water topper upper. I was like, what is going on with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like we said, the water in our GFCs isn't there to control your temperature. Your airflow does that on its own. The water's there to stop too much fat building up on its own, and to add a bit of moisture to the environment. So the water in the GFC you'll get like like when you're boiling a pot of water on the stove, you get those tiny little bubbles on the bottom. It doesn't tend to actually boil, so it sits just under the boiling temp, and it'll last for a hell of a long time before you need to top it up. So we didn't. I mean, I did think about it. I did like that.
It was weird. I saw it and I thought, what is that for? And then I was like reading it, and it was like a gravity-fed water topper upper. I was like, all right, okay. The things that people will come up with. But anyway, so we talked about the airflow on the GFC, but I suppose slightly more important would be let's talk about the airflow on the reverse flow, because it's a bit more intricate in the way that it works.
Yeah. So the reverse flow, just above the charcoal basket where your fire is, there's a rectangle cut in a steel plate. That rectangle allows the air to go up and touch the bottom of the cooking chamber, but it doesn't go into there. It actually goes left and right around the cooking chamber and up the sides, and then through vents at the top of the cooking chamber. The air's forced down through the cooking chamber and then out of the back and up through the chimney.
So the chimney vent starts at the bottom of the unit, so it sucks the heat back down through and back up again.
Yeah.
So you've got like almost, it starts at the bottom, works its way up the sides, and works its way back down to the bottom and back out again. So I bet the temperature on that must be a really, really well sort of spread an even temperature across the whole unit.
It's like a convectional microwave. You guys will be used to that.
We're never going to live this down.
Maybe we should get one of those for our next TV show. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's actually got a slightly more radiant heat than the GFCs because you've got that extra layer of wall in the sides, so you get sort of a stronger bark on those units than the GFCs. But I wouldn't say it's a massive difference in the product.
I noticed you get a bottle opener on the cabinets. Do you get a bottle opener with the GFC?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I can see it now, yeah. Just out of view. I thought I'd found something different there. I was about to buy a cabinet, but now I think I'll buy a GFC.
Yeah, we also sell the bottle openers on Amazon as well. If you want a ProQ bottle opener.
Awesome. We'll get onto Amazon.
Who wouldn't want one?
Yeah, no, they rock. They rock. We just had lunch down here. Normally it's a Friday cookout here, but the guys at Macs have sorted us out. We arrived just conveniently just at 12:30, so perfect sort of lunchtime. And Ty and Ian were just finishing up the pork belly and chicken thighs. So.
Nothing to do with Ian.
Oh, just Ty. Ian was just eating. It's all good.
Yeah.
That's same as me
I'm
in
the
bed.
chief taster.
Yeah. We had our notepads out, My Kitchen Rules style, marking Ty. But we won't announce that now. We will announce that another time.
We made sure we smell the plates beforehand as well, true MKR style.
Moving the pork belly around the cutting board with our noses, that's the way they have to do it in My Kitchen Rules,
But it was a really nice lunch, actually. We enjoyed that belly pork. You've done that a few times, I think, now, and I'm enjoying it every time you've made it.
I have to always think about the grill stock. You had the flipping grate out with the pork bellies, and you had it again at Pen Gritty, and they were just insane. The crackling you were getting on them just with that perfect cook as well was beautiful.
Yeah, you've done that a few times yourself as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I would have to say not as good as Ty's.
I'm glad you said it, because...
I've only done it once or twice, so I have to, give me a chance here.
So we've got stretch and tubby, so which one are you going for?
I'm going for a GFC. I think, yeah. Because I'm cooking for so many people, I think I'm going to wait for the 7200. But
You're not cooking for that many people. There isn't that many people that want to eat your food.
I just like big portions, so that's just for me. What makes guys? What's the real difference between what sets these apart from other sort of cabinet smokers on the market? What makes the GFC or the reverse flow cabinets like the best thing for people to buy?
So I don't think there's a huge amount of cabinet smokers available in the UK and Europe. There's a few producers, but most of the stuff we were seeing was imported from the States. We imported a few ourselves and had a look at them, and while they all work, there were some fundamental things that were missing that we thought. For example, the charcoal chute being far too small on the gravity feeds, and also sort of hot spots and that sort of thing were just way too prevalent. The finish was all right, but you still had stuff like welding splatter left on the smokers, which could easily be sort of wiped off. But the finish wasn't there for us. We thought there was there's a potential for these in the UK and Europe, and it turns out there is, because we're selling them at the same sort of price you could buy them in the US without the import costs, without the shipping and the tax and everything else. So,
and that import cost and shipping tax can be an absolute insanity when you're talking about the sort of weight and size of these units. If you want something of this sort of size, I mean, we were only talking to Richard Orm from Barbecue Gourmet, and he's brought over a few of the what are they called, the gateway drums, and people are looking at bringing Yodas and stuff over, and just purely because of the size of them, like they take up it's like two metric meters in a container ship, and it's just a lot of money to bring them over. And again, like you said, the import tax and stuff. So getting something from the UK really makes that sort of difference when you're talking about cost. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, let's just hope Brexit doesn't put too much cost on top of these.
Yeah, thinking they've ruined everything else, so they probably will try and ruin barbecue. Who knows? I had something so basically, what if you were a restaurant and you're looking at serving barbecue food, why would they go for one of your units rather than like a pellet smoker or another electric style smoker?
I mean, pellets and electric are great for when you're mass producing food. They do the job, but from an authenticity point of view, for us, it's all about charcoal, or even cooking with a real fire. That's something that we think is really important and something that people want to do. So, we've made it available, and the units work just as reliably as an electric or a gas or a pellet smoker. So there's no reason not to. It's not any more or less difficult, apart from the bit where you have to light a fire. On
that note, so what about like regs and stuff like that? Is it a problem with like sort of kitchens and restaurants using these? Because I'm with you. I don't really care what anyone says. I tend to make my own opinion, and my own opinion is that without charcoal and without a real fire, you don't get that real authentic taste that I think that people really want. So I'm with you on that sense, but what's sort of like the regulations and stuff? How are they affecting restaurants?
They're different for different councils. For example, Manchester Smokehouse had to put a huge air filtration system in their HVAC, so they had to spend quite a bit of money putting that in place because Manchester's a smoke control zone. So that makes a difference for them. And it's all about sort of speaking to your EHO and explaining to them how it works and the fact that it's a sealed unit. There's no chance of, something touching it and catching fire. It's exactly like, most kitchen equipment. It's hot. It's possible to burn yourself on it, but it's no different than having anything else.
Well, a flame comes out of a gas hob, so the fact there's an open flame in the kitchen, there's an open flame in the kitchen anyway. So there's no.
But it's got nowhere to go in the unit.
The unit's a sealed unit, as you said, so there's no chance of anything happening. So it's just cool to hear that. And again, like you said, I mean, Manchester has real strict controls on smoke and stuff like that. And the Manchester Smokehouse and Cellar have smashed it. And absolutely, I was speaking to Jason, and he's absolutely loved his. And I mean, you could tell straight away that he like fell in love with it, and it's really transformed his kitchen. You guys have been up there to see him, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been up there. Ian and I went once, and then I took my wife up as well. Such great hospitality. It might be because we sort of know the head chef, but I mean the food is absolutely fantastic. The guys there do a really good job, and all the staff there are really attentive, great people.
Some of the pictures I see coming out of it are just insane. It looks so good. And I know Jace is like he's a chef, a trained chef, a professional chef, and I know the standard of food that he was putting out before at previous places I've been friends with him for a while now and seen like the standard of food that he puts out. It's been amazing. So it's great to see him doing that same sort of take on barbecue and putting out some amazing stuff.
Yeah, he's doing some really exciting stuff on the barbecue side, but I think he's also a prime example of doing barbecue correctly on live fire, and as you say, he's smashing it out. He's doing amazing amount of covers through that restaurant. So it's no more difficult than running electric or pellet smokers or that. He hasn't got any electrics in his kitchen. He's got asados, he's got offsets, he's got gravity feeds, but the main difference is they're all live fire.
And I bet that really shines out in the food. I mean, like I said, I completely am behind the fact that food tastes different when it's cooked over a live fire in any environment, whether it is in a wood-fired oven, on an asado grill, or in a GFC, in an Excel, or whatever it's in. If it's got charcoal burning in the bottom, I think you really do taste the difference.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people say, if you do a blind tasting, you probably wouldn't know the difference. But for me, on a commercial pellet smoker, you can see a lot of smoke and you can smell the smoke, but I don't feel you get the same taste profile. So yeah, it's I guess it's down to personal preference. I mean, what we must remember as well is smoking is a little bit like chilies. So the more you smoke, the less you notice how smoky things are. So for the regular punter, a little smoke is probably enough. What we like is probably too much for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And these units, something I was wondering is how about leaving them outside? Because at the end of the day, after you've used your smoker, you don't want to put it away again, wheel it out every time you use it and stuff. Especially with these units being the beasts they are. I mean, I think they're 300 kilos or something. I mean, I've tried lifting one into Riviera Barbecue. We're competing down at Pengrity, and we unloaded one out of their van. They've bought a special van because they've got what have they got? A stretch or a
Yeah, they got the stretch.
Yeah, they got the stretch. So Glenn and Sarah bought a special van for it, and Glenn invented this pulley system that did absolutely nothing, and he wrote me into helping him out with it and helping it back in. I don't know how I stood it.
Luckily, I shut off early.
Yeah, Ben ran away as usual, so it was just left me and Ty, and Glenn lifted it in, and it was a bit of a beast.
I watched.
Yeah.
Ian was taking notes and judging us. He was telling us who was the best at putting it in.
He didn't take notes too carefully because he dropped one in his leg a few weeks later.
About that hurt.
Yeah, it was a bit ticklish.
Cool.
And they're so recognisable, aren't they? And the bright orange colour. I love the styling and everything. The logo looks awesome. I love the huge dial on the front for your thermometer. It looks like like I said, so recognisable as a product that there's nothing else out there. And seeing that huge ProQ on the front of it just looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of industrial units around, and mostly from the States. And there's some pretty good ones. Pitmaker, they look really cool. I love the look of them, but yeah, I've tried a couple. Didn't work out great for me. And what we wanted was to produce a unit that not only looks cool but works properly. And I think we were there with them. There's the only thing that we do now is probably, start developing a few accessories for them. There's stainless steel grates, and that sort of thing. As to how they work perfectly as best as we can get them. I don't think there's anything else that competes in the market at the moment as to their functionality. But yeah, we as always, we stand behind our product. I mean, we're in this because we love what we do, not just to make money. We cook all the time. We use our products, so and I think for me the main thing is I wouldn't want to sell something that I wasn't prepared to use myself and that I wouldn't be happy with.
And every time, since these new units have been out, I mean, still today we had we had a Ranger outside going. Was it a Ranger?
Smallest one.
It was a Frontier, yeah.
Frontier. It was a Frontier out the back going, and there's a GFC going, and one being seasoned next to it as well. So it really does show that you do use your products, and every time I've come down since it's been released, there's always been one going cooking on it, and you guys have been well, I always tend to come down on Fridays because it's food, you know me.
Yeah.
I think with my belly. So so yeah, no, it's and that is an awesome thing to hear is that you do take real pride in your products, and you are passionate about your products, and you do believe in them, because that is really important when you're buying anything. I mean, it's not just barbecues and anything in life. Everything you buy, if it's, you get some companies just selling anything, they're happy to sell whatever. They're just there to make money, and then you have companies that are passionate about what they're doing, that believe in what they've got, and invest time, invest money, invest everything into their products, and it's great to see you guys doing that.
Speaking of seasoning it, is that something that you guys always do, or do people, when they've purchased one, do they need to season it themselves when they get it?
So this one I'm seasoning today was a unit that's already been used. Yeah, I'm basically just seasoning it because it's been sat for a while to make sure it doesn't get any rust spots or anything. It's just a bit of upkeep really before we send it out.
So you don't have to really season it when you first buy a new one, or you do have to?
Yeah, it'll come fresh from the factory. We don't cook on it previously at all. So it will need seasoning, and that's quite simple. It's just grab a block of lard, rub it all over the inside of the smoker and on the grates.
Sounds like heaven.
Yeah, and then you just
It's like
jump
a massage.
in there.
A massage in lard.
Not allowed to eat any of them.
Yeah, you just fire it up and let it go.
Adding wood into like to both of them, I guess. Then you do it in different ways. I'm guessing that if you're doing the gravity, you putting it in the hopper with the coal, or where do you put your wood chunks?
So in the gravity feed, in the bottom door under the charcoal basket or the charcoal grate, you'd put the wood straight into the ash pan. I have seen guys putting a couple of kilos of charcoal in, then a couple of chunks of wood, and then a couple more kilos, and then a couple of chunks of wood. And that gives you a good base smoke, but you get your real smoke flavour with nice big chunks in the bottom of the ash pan. The reverse flows, there's a flat ash pan underneath the charcoal grate, and you can just chuck wood chunks onto there or straight onto the coals in the basket as well.
Awesome. Cool.
We love them, don't we? We're just all the time. It's like, when can we set up some sort of business or something that requires us to get one? Or should we just get one anyway? We just don't know.
I get told off with what I've got already, and I'm just thinking, I just want one so bad.
They're too big to get away with, aren't they?
They're pretty hard to hide.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's too big to get away with. If I just wheel this bright orange thing into the back garden, I've always had that.
Yeah. Just got to buy them a present first. Just give them a present to occupy them and wheel it into the back garden and be like, have you not noticed it? It's been there for 6 months or something. That is a cool thing, though, is how noticeable they are, and their colour and everything really stands out. So I've been seeing them popping up all over there. I mean, Australia has really taken them with open arms, and like I've seen smokehouses and also competition teams all over Australia are using them already. So you guys sending shipping containers all over there for them to take?
Yeah, Aussie are just about to have their third container shipped over, and some of the units that are in production now are already sold there. So, you know, they're really, really taking this seriously.
There's a waiting list in Australia then, guys. So we need to, come on, let's buck our ideas up and...
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we need to get at least 10, we need to get 10 shipping containers for the UK, you know? We need to take over.
Awesome. So we've got any other products that you've got going around at the moment that are coming out soon, or we got anything special to tell us? Obviously, we're always in love with your charcoal briquettes, which we're both using wherever possible now.
Yeah, I had them running in against. I'd only literally due to the fact that I had nothing left. I had what a really weird cook. I was cooking for like a big group of people, and I had bought all this food. I had an amazing brisket from Bob's Family Butchers, actually, one of the Black Angus's, and that turned up. And I was like, I had all this food to cook, and coming from from the Bunch of Swines cookery course, I really, really wanted to try out a few of the things that I learnt. So spending that time with Ed and Emma, I really wanted to get in and actually cook some of the big meats.
Yeah,
so
how did yours turn out? It looked amazing in the video.
honestly, it turned out amazing. But like, what I didn't realise is normally I've got all this massive build up of like all these supplies and everything that I've just had over time, and it came to Friday night when I'm setting off everything cooking, and I'm like looking around and I'm like, where's all my charcoal gone? Where is all my like rubs and stuff I'd made up and had going, and everything seemed to have just vanished. And I was spending the whole day the next day at Burnham-on-Sea, so I was like absolutely like frantically trying to sort something. So I was like botching together like 5 different boxes of charcoal like to try and get like a burn going. So it so happened that I had like one running off the heat beads and one running off the cocoa shell, and both running with BBQ's gurus hooked up to them, so both burning same temperature, and by the next morning, I didn't have to top up the cocoa shell, and I had to top up the heat beads. So I had to open up it was a bag of Mr. Charcoal.
Oh yeah, Mr. Charcoal. It's Simon Dyer.
Yeah, Simon Dyer gave us a bag, so I opened up a bag of that and chucked that on that one. Went out for the day, and the cocoa shell was only just finishing, so it had been overnight out for a full day, and back home the cocoa shell was just coming to an end of its cook. So
that was your first time using your new thermometers as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, first time using the
How did you find that?
To be completely honest, I struggled because I didn't been a typical man, I would say, being a typical
Didn't read the instructions,
didn't read
did
any
you?
instructions, didn't look at how to use it at all. So just hooked it up. So I've seen people using it, so I thought, it would be easy. So just hooked it all up. And then it was funny though, because Ed and Emma at the Bunch of Swines course were talking about how to set, like, to get the best results out of it. And at the time I didn't have one, so I wasn't really thinking. And then I sort of bought one like a few weekends afterwards. And I wasn't really paying attention to that sort of stuff because I didn't have one. And then like I'd set all these things up and I'm messaging Ben going, oh, fit me, it's set at 225 and it's up to 350. I don't know what's going on. Like, how has it gone up this hot? Blah, 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 blah. And then again, I was listening to another podcast, Man Meat Barbecue, who had on, I don't know his name now, but the guy from Barbecue Guru in America. Bob, yeah, that's it. And Bob was talking about like the common mistakes that people make and the fact that you still use your top vent as you would when you're smoking anyway, and just basically setting up the barbecue as you would if you didn't have the Type Q or Guru there, except for obviously your bottom vent. So thinking about that, and also thinking about, Ed and Emma mentioned like setting up your coals in like a horseshoe sort of shape, and setting the fire closest to the fan for it to burn out. I just set it up minion method as I normally do in my ProQ, and it just, I guess, just fired right up and just went out of control. So yeah.
Still worked out though.
Still worked out. I had some great food. Honestly, it was amazing. But
it just probably didn't do anything. It didn't even need to kick in, did it?
May as well have not been there, to be honest, this time. But next time I'm going to give it another go, and I'm going to get some. I ran out of charcoal, so I'm getting some more cocoa shell today, and I'm going to have another cook with it. So yeah, hopefully I'll come back with some better results when I've actually listened to how to use it and thought about it, rather than just being a barbecue moron as I am and just chucking it all on. So hopefully this time would be a lot better.
You guys use them a little bit, do you?
Yeah, I mean we didn't used to with the bullets, but once we got sort of cabinets on the go, we had to start using them because we knew that, you know, guys would want them on the units. So yeah, we got some stock in from Barbecue Guru Europe, and yeah, we've just been playing with them. Amazing pieces of kit.
Yeah, and have you tried setting up with like the web interface and that on it, so you can like monitor your temperature from your phone and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a nerd. That's the first thing I did. I set it up and just sort of had fun changing the temperature from my computer in the office when the smoker was outside.
That's what I wanted to do when Dan said he'd got one. I was like, well, can we look at it now from our phones while we're not at home? And he's like, no, I haven't done that bit yet.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing is? That night I actually set one up via my Wi-Fi, but I messed one up. I don't know how I did it the exact same, because it makes it so easy now. It's like Wi-Fi setup, it search for networks, and like I did the exact same thing as the second one. But then when because it has to reboot after you change the network settings, it then went to reboot and it said like no network. So I did a master reset on it, and since I did the master reset, it seems like I've just ruined it. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna have to.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah, Bob, can you? Is there like a software download or something, or I don't know? Could you sort me out?
This is instruction manual. Have you tried that?
I didn't try that yet, but I will do now. So, but that's something that's I was looking for gurus in the UK, but I couldn't get one because I heard that there's some supply issues going on. Can people buy them from you guys here?
Yeah, to be honest, there was quite a sort of lag in supply from Europe, but from what we understand, it was backlog from the States to Europe. So yeah, we are the UK distributor for Barbecue Guru, and yeah, we give us a call. With the gurus and that, it's much easier if you give us a call, tell us what you've got, what you're trying to do, and we can hook you up with the right equipment.
Awesome. I think it'll be my next thing on my list. If it's not for Christmas, it might have to be sooner.
I've got two.
Well, I could have one of yours
and
then.
I'm
Cheers.
a better cook.
Well, you're not.
Now I am with my gurus.
Just shame you don't know how to use them.
Yeah.
Right,
well, how to use them, still a better cook.
Right, well, guys, he's off now. He's got a wheelie chair and he's just zooming off round. Yippee, woo. We have a race in a minute. Right, thanks, guys, for
I'll probably win
today.
That too.
Right, there he goes. He's off on one now. So yeah, thanks for inviting us down today. Well, I don't know if you invited us. We probably just invited ourselves, but thanks for having us. Thanks for cooking for us. Thanks for being on today's podcast and giving us a proper tour of these products. So we'll make sure we get some photos out with the podcast so you can see which products we've been talking about. But check them out. Go have a look on Macs BBQ, and you can see all the details. So thanks, Ty and Ian.
Thank you guys for coming down.
Yeah, nice to have celebrities with us.
Big time celebrities now, yeah. We'll do selfies afterwards.
TV stars, you know.
Yeah.
We're signing autographs down here now.
Yeah. There's people waiting outside. Well, we'll have to.
We had to shut the back door. There's
It's a bit
crowds
much.
of people.
We can't cope with it.
You probably hear the wolf whistling from here, but there's hundreds of girls.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
my
me.
wife, my missus.
Oh dear.
That was Ben, by the way, talking about the girls, not me.
Sound like your voice. That's weird. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, guys. We've recorded yet another awesome podcast to get you over hump day. As always, we've been brought to you by ProQ, BBQ Gourmet and Smokewood Shack, our awesome sponsors. ProQ is dedicated to providing you with quality smoking products with top-notch service and free advice for beginners to pitmasters. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram under ProQ Smokers. So if you're thinking about buying your first smoker, wanting to upgrade, or looking for authentic charcoal commercial smokers, check them out over at Macs BBQ. And BBQ Gourmet is devoted to promoting real barbecue and supplying the UK and Europe with top championship winning barbecue rubs, sauces, marinades and accessories from the United States and around the world. You can find them on Twitter and online under BBQ Gourmet. So regardless how you cook, whether it's on charcoal, wood, gas or electric, the real taste of summer can be yours all year round. And finally, Smokewood Shack delivers quality smoking wood every time. They provide the smoky goodness, you provide the talent. So if you're looking for smoking wood chunks, dust, chips or planks, you can head on over to smokewoodshack.com, or you can find them on Twitter under Smokewood Shack. So goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
And I'm the better cook, yes.
I'm the best barbecue cook, by far.